Hello, I'm the Analyst, and I'm here to talk about Hollywood's biggest box office flops. Our topic of the week is comedian Will Ferrell, whose latest comedy, The House, opens this Friday, June 30th. Getting his start as a member of the improv troupe The Groundlings, Ferrell, along with fellow groundling Chris Kattan, would join SNL in 1995. With Ferrell remaining a regular until 2002, with Ferrell being a very well-received member with roles including George W. Bush, clubber Steve Buscemi, and arguably his best role on the show, Alex Trebek in the Celebrity Jeopardy sketch.
That's Let It Snow.
As for his film career, his first role would be a supporting character in the first two Austin Powers films, before getting a lead role in the initially unsuccessful but eventual cult classic SNL adaptation A Night at the Roxbury. And after several unimpressive turns in Dick, Superstar, and The Ladies' Man, would be cast as Mugatu in Ben Stiller's cult classic comedy Zoolander. And he would finally break out to mainstream success in 2003 with the double whammy of both Old School and Elf, which is his biggest lead role to date. And while the Lego Movie did make more, Elf was the biggest in which he was the lead, not a support. And he's generally a solid draw with domestic hits such as Anchorman, Talladega Nights, and Step Brothers, though he has had his fair share of misses, including Kicking and Screaming, Bewitched, and Semi-Pro. Now we arrive in 2009 with what is likely the biggest flop of his career. This is Land of the Lost. Based on the 1970s Croft Brothers show the same name, Land of the Lost tells the story of an explorer and his two comrades that find themselves in an alternate universe inhabited with dinosaurs, humanoid lizards, and primitive type people. And unlike the show's family leanings and lower budget style, this is a big budget comedy aimed for an older audience, featuring profanity, sex jokes, and even drug references. So, does updating a show in a manner so different from the original make it any good? Well, if you heard me before, you already know the answer. But let's check it out anyway. We start with an astronaut in what appears to be a swamp, uncertain of where he is before a dinosaur eats him. We then see Rick Marshall, a paleontologist played by Will Ferrell, having an interview with Matt Lauer regarding his theories about time warps, but is laughed off as a total nut, and as such, Rick attacks him, destroying his career. Now, was Will Ferrell the right call? Looking at their faces, it's not a great match, though it'd be kinda hard to be a match. How about in personality? The original Dr. Rick Marshall is wise, intelligent, but this one is completely full of himself and a complete jerk-ass. 3 years later, Dr. Marshall is reduced to a presenter at the La Brea Tar Pit
subatomic
site,
particles that move so incredibly fast.
Still a laughingstock, given his theories involving tachyons and time travel that would lead to the discovery of a parallel dimension.
Yeah, if you shot a ton of pot at the sun, would it burn up and get everybody high?
And yes, that was a drug reference. And that was one reason this film was PG-13. You can't have a drug joke in a PG movie. That's the MPAA for you. After the presentation, Holly Cantrell, played by Anna Friel, who also happens to be a fan of his theories, meets him. As for Holly's appearance, she maintains the pigtails of the original Holly, but her hair is brunette instead of the original blonde. And after showing him an ancient fossil that just so happens to feature an imprint of his pipe lighter, Rick realizes he was correct in his theory, and proceeds to build the tachyon amplifier, a device that would track these tachyons and would create the pathway to another dimension. Traveling to the cave in which Holly found the fossil, which is out in the middle of nowhere, they meet tourist trap owner Will Stanton, played by Danny McBride. Here, Danny plays the character like he does many of his other roles, as a rude, egocentric, and buffoonish jerk. I'm not saying he's a bad person, but he's got rather limited range as an actor. As for how well he fits the original Will, in terms of appearance, McBride is pretty far off, as was Farrell. Now, it's gonna be hard to get actors that look a lot like the original characters, but it seems like they didn't put a whole lot of effort into it. And in the original show, Dr. Rick Marshall was the father of Will and Holly, but here they are three completely unrelated individuals and all adults, resulting in a rather creepy romance between Marshall and Holly. Ugh.